So hi and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Tiger Arc pads here for the G Pro wireless and whether the 3 weeks I've been using them for has broken them in and has made them a fast escape against when I installed them originally and took the measurements as well. So if you've been following my videos, you know at the moment I'm using the G640, the QcK Plus, the MP510 from Cooler Master and the GSR Diva version here. Check out my beardedbob.com website that has all the comparisons for my different skates that I've tested, like core pads, hyperglides, as well as a new voting system that allows you to help me prioritize my videos by you voting on which video you want to see next. So if you haven't already watched the video for these Tigers when I installed them straight out of the packet, they've been on here, like I say, about 3 weeks, three to 4 weeks, and people usually expect or discuss on things like Reddit and on the internet that they see a better performance from the skate after a period of time. Now, for me, I never really believed that, because I honestly think that as soon as you start to use these, you're going to scratch them up and they're going to degrade. I did a break-in video for the core pads, and I saw that they actually went down in performance in terms of they were slower. So when we say performance, I'm talking about the speed of them. They were a slower speed, but some people might prefer that because then you get more control. Now for me, it's a personal preference. I think personally, if they're fast, you want to maintain that speed. You want that to stay consistent. So we're going to measure these today. And we're going to see whether they have degraded in speed from where they were originally. And I'll be able to compare that in the charts that I normally show you. And we'll be able to take a quick look here using the force gauge meter that I use here to tell us whether this has actually truly affected the mouse and whether now it takes more force to push it across these 4 pads that we've used as the baseline. So if you're not familiar how we take the measurements here across the pad, we take 4 measurements. We take an NSW, which is a normal rotated pad, sideways. We take an NFW, which is normal forwards. We then rotate the pad, and we take an RSW measurement, which is rotated sideways, and we take an RFW, which is rotated forwards. Now when the pad's in its normal rotation, the 2 measurements that you want to focus on, and we do that in the averages here on these charts that I'll show you, you want to look at the NFW and the RSW, so normal forward and rotated sideways. Hopefully that makes some sense. So let's take these measurements and then let's look at each one after each test, and we'll review and go through, and I'll let you know what changes there are here to help you decide whether these are going to be the pads for you. So you'll see here that I'm taking 3 measurements across the pad for each scenario, NSW, NFW, etc. But I'm now just going to read you out the average across that pad on that direction, and we'll take a look and compare that to when the Tigers were standard, and we'll get an idea whether there's any changes here on these pads. So the lower the number, the faster the skates are for the mouse, and the higher the number, the slower the skates are, so more control. So the first average here for the G640 after 3 tests came in at 21 grams force. The NFW came in at 27 grams average. The RSW came in at 24 grams average, and the RFW came in at 31 grams average. So what that did, it gave the Tiger pads here for the break-in an average of 26 grams. And if we compare that to the time when we took the measurements for the skates when they came out the packet, you can see they were 23 grams at that time, which means we've got 3 grams of extra force here over the averages on these 640, which currently shows that these skates are now slower than they were when they came out of the packet. Not necessarily a bad thing here. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying that they are slower than when they came out of the packet. Now that might be your preference. You might prefer that, but for me, I prefer a slightly quicker pad than these Tigers provide at the moment. So moving on, we're using the QcK Plus here. So the first average measurement here for the NSW was 21 grams. The NFW was 26 grams. The RSW was 19 grams, and the RFW was 23 grams, which gave the average of these Tigers once used for 3 weeks on the QcK Plus an average of 23 grams. And when they came out of the packet, they were 21 grams average. Again, here we've gained 2 grams worth of friction here, making them again slower on the QcK. So moving on here to the MP510, the average for the NSW came in at 19 grams. The NFW came in at 23 grams. The RSW came in at 20 grams, and the RFW came in at 23 grams. And the average here across the pad was 22 grams force. And again, we've lost a gram here in force. Could be down to the measurement maybe, because that's quite close really, but the average was 21 grams on the original test when the feet were out of the packet. So you could put that down to a bit of measurements maybe not being quite right or slight difference. So potentially it's the same performance on the MP510. I thought that was quite interesting because all the two pads at the moment have shown us quite a significant change, but the MP510 here has been quite even, as we can see. There's only 1 gram difference, so maybe a difference in texture on the pads can create a difference to the skates on the mouse itself. So the final one here is the Zowie Diva GSR SE here, and the NSW average here was 23 grams. The NFW average was 30 grams. The RSW was 26 grams, and the RFW was 29 grams, which gives the Tigers an average of 28 grams when broken in on this pad. And when we originally tested this, they came in at 23 grams. So that's quite a significant change here on both the G640 and the Zowie Diva here, GSR. The other two are perhaps not as significant, but the point here I think is that again, the break-in of skates, as they did on the core pads, these are now on Tigers, are showing a degrade in the speed. They don't get faster. After 2 weeks, you don't bed them in. They in fact probably slow down. They might become more consistent maybe, but as soon as you start to use skates, from what I can tell here in the tests I've been running, as you can see, I get quite in depth here. I've noticed they are getting slower. They don't get faster. So I hope you like this video. I hope you've liked the way I've tried to present this a bit differently. I've tried to show the charts and explain them. I know a few people have asked me to explain the charts in a bit more detail, and I've tried to do that a bit differently today. So let me know in the comments if you want me to do it any other way, or hints and tips. Certainly interested in that and the feedback, good or bad, as long as it's constructive. And until the next one, I'll see you all again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.